Eddie, you still at work?
Yep. We
Okay.
just rolled out that application like 2 o'clock, and so I've been working on trying to get some of that done. And
I saw that. You talking about the COVID-19 stuff?
yep,
Oh, nice. I was going to make an announcement about that too. That's nice.
yeah.
Yeah, let people know.
Were you able to get the application?
Yep.
I saw it, yeah, in,
Okay.
in our files. We put it on our Facebook group.
Good.
Okay, guys, we ready?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, we're going live now.
All right.
Okay, can you approve it, Jim?
Oh. Should have had me told me. I would have. I don't see it as a thing. Oh, there it is. There it is. Hold on. Approve. Approve. See if I can see myself on my
Okay.
phone.
Go ahead and start.
All right. Hey, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the Sisseton-Wahpeton Off-Reservation Group. And my name is Jim Eagle, and I'm here tonight to interview or to pose your questions to Eddie Johnson, who is currently our vice chairman, and I believe he's running again for vice chairman. A real quick background for myself. I was born in the 60s. On reservation, I was one of the many, many children who were adopted off the reservation at a very young age. And so my brother and I had a twin brother, and my brother and I were adopted off. And then I actually didn't reconnect with the tribe until early 2000s, which was about 20 years ago almost now. And have been trying to get involved ever since. But I live here in San Francisco, California, and I've been here a little over 30 years. And so I do as much as I can. My cousin and I were talking about 4 to 5 weeks ago now. I think this group has been in existence for about, what, 5-6 weeks? So, and we were talking a little bit prior to that about trying to get together and creating a group for off-res people. And we did that, and we just did that, and it's been wonderful. The response for you guys has been wonderful. I think we're almost up to 1,200 members now, and that's in what, for a span of 4 to 5 weeks, and that's really remarkable. And so we have a lot of concerns. This group has a lot of concerns about our voting rights and additional concerns what it means to be off-res, and some of those questions tonight pertain to that. And I'd like to, but before we get to the questions, I'd like to make one quick announcement that the application for the COVID-19 relief funds, I don't know if you have a better name for it or official name for it, but that's what I'm calling it, is online now, and you're free to file. And I would look at the website, and maybe when I hand it back over to Eddie, he'll let us know what that website is and where we can get it, that application. And that's it. Yeah. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Eddie Johnson, and he is going to right now just give us a little bit of tell us a little bit about himself, his background, and any qualifications he wants to put in there, and then we'll go ahead with your questions. All right. Go ahead, Eddie.
Hey, thank you. Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Edmund Johnson Jr. I go by Eddie. My background is I was born and raised here in Sisseton. My education, I went to Sisseton High School, and then for college, I went to Haskell Indian Nations University. I graduated with a bachelor's in business administration with the emphasis in management. After school, I worked at Dakota Connection as started as actually accounts payable, then to payroll. Then I was actually the manager trainee for accounting. A job came up at the Gaming Commission as the gaming auditor. I took that position. I worked there. After that, I was the manager for the SDPI programs, which is the Special Diabetes Program for Indians. And then in 2015, I got into politics. I was elected for the Ole Agency District. And then I got reelected for the second term. And then during that term, there's a special election for the secretary. I ran for that. I was secretary last year, and then Myrna beat me last term. And then I ran for the vice chair on this special election and got elected.
Very good. All right. Thank you.
Questions?
Eddie, that's quite a background you got. Nice resume. I also started in accounting, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yes, it is accounts payable as well. Nice. And so first question, here we go. First, how will they get the tribal council and all tribal programs and directors to become compliant with transparency? And this is actually a question, we actually had quite a few questions about transparency.
Yeah.
Seems to be a big issue with a lot of people. So let's talk about transparency.
Um, when it comes to council and executives, I think we try to be as transparent as possible, but it's just tough with everything going on because obviously, you know, you got your group now to help with that, which is a good thing. But it's just hard for, you know, Facebook, and then, you know, we have the Shota, but you know, that comes out a week later every Monday.
Mm,
But you know, I get asked same question hundreds of times,
mm,
but you know, and that's something that I learned I'm just gonna have to expect because it's hard to get to everybody. And no matter how many times a question comes up, I just try and keep my answers the same as so that it doesn't change and confuse even more.
right, right. So there's a kind of a second part of that question that goes, and what steps would they take to make amendments to the Constitution and bylaws to ensure everyone complies rather than the do as I please mentality? And second, will they enforce accountability?
Accountability enforcing, it's sort of, I guess, you know, working with Shannon, it sort of goes back to working with Shannon and to the judicial committee to, you know, enforce this stuff with especially our codes. Our codes are, that was one of my campaign, um, what is it, strategy or whatever that I, in 2015 that I was working on, because just recently, you know, I've had an issue with a tribal member, and, you know, our code was last amended in 1983, I think it was.
Wow.
And I was
Mhm.
like, you know, then they asked me, it's like, you know, is this right? And I was like, you know, it's funny, but not funny, because, you know, I was, what, 6 years old when this code was last amended. You know, it's tough. You know, we need to keep up, and it's sort of tough because you can't get the quorum to change that code so that you can make it more accountable rather than, you know, just
Wow.
being working with what you got. So,
Okay. So quorum's an important thing, huh? Getting
right,
enough of the tribal members involved or voting in order to make an actual change.
right.
Right. Okay. Well, I hope our off-res group can take part in that in some point in the
Agree.
future.
I agree.
Right. Yeah. All right. So second question, should the drug testing policy for tribal employees be changed?
Is there specifics on in what way it's been changed? I know right now it's random drug testing, quarterly. I believe it's 10%. I do believe maybe that percentage should go up. You know, just with everything going on and off res, we know how it's going. You know, opiates was a big thing. Now you got the stronger stuff like meth and heroin. Um, you know, I think not only to protect the people that are using, but to protect the people that are actually not using. And I'm always in agreement with any drug testing.
Good. All right. Nice. All right. Third question. Where do you stand on off-res voting?
If you look at the motions, we are trying to get the motions posted on our website. We're just getting them all in PDF format, and we're going to try and get them on the website as soon as possible so that, you know, off reservation can view them. I did vote yes for off-res voting. I know it
Oh,
was a,
okay. Well,
yeah,
yeah.
and, but at the time of when I voted yes, it was far enough out where, you know, where you follow your process. You know, I know process needs to be updated too, but it's
Right.
tougher now because our process is so long to change a code. Um, and
Why
it's
is that?
tough. It's just I
Are we going back to the quorum thing?
No, this one is actually just I believe the process needs to be changed so that the timeline is shorter. As of right now, Shannon would know more than this. She can correct me later if I'm wrong, but I believe it's like issue comes to judicial, and then it goes to the districts,
Mm.
back to council, then to
Mhm.
legal, and then for approval. And I think the whole process ended up being like 6 months, which is,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a note of
Mhm.
that. 6 months. Okay, it's like a bill on Capitol Hill, huh?
Right, right.
All right. There's more of that question. And what about mail-in ballots? How do you feel about mail-in ballots?
I'm good with mail-in ballots. In order to get our change, we need our quorum. Like I
Yeah.
said, I'm all for off reservation voting. It's just the process. I think we need to get that. It's tough because, the issue happens every other year. Soon as it's election time, let's do off reservation voting. So, I'm gonna make it one of my um, things. If we want to do this, we need to start it right after the election rather than holding off a couple months before the election where everybody's saying, well, you got to follow process, and the process is, going through the districts and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. What did you, somebody wants to know, what do you think about our petition approach?
The people can do how they want to do things. It's tough, I know, and it's up to them on how they want to approach things. If they don't like it, and everybody, has their right to speak their mind on how they want to do it, whether it's petition or Facebook or
Right.
anything.
Okay. And then there's a part for you. Is there another approach we can try if this one fails?
With the petition,
Yeah.
from my understanding with the process, it's just through the districts. With this COVID-19, I know it's been tough.
Mm.
And, talking to your council representative or even coming to an executive to explain your differences and whatever issues there is, you know, I've always tried to make sure that I contact it's tough to try and respond to somebody on an instant basis. And so, but I try to make sure that I reach back and, if anybody asks me about their issues, and I explain the best I can to them.
Okay. Well, thank you. All right. So next question. I want to know when the DARES, and I'm not familiar with this issue myself, so I'm just going to read it. I want to know when the DARES employee job was advertised to distribute the food.
Okay, it was verbally from me on Facebook Live. It was about 2 weeks before Enemy Swim spike happened. And then it was advertised that next Monday. And then I believe it was like in the middle of the week is when everybody started, because the tribal PD needed security to maintain in and out of the housing there. And then after that, that's when it just started to spike. It was just security. And at the same time, we were rolling out the distribution. So it was about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks before the actual food distribution. It was security, and then it was the food distribution that we did for hiring.
Okay. And to continue on, they have quite a few questions in this. Why is it the same group of people if the food was put together in the tribe where the biggest outbreak of COVID-19 was? And I'm just reading that question. It's a little grammatically wrong, but I'm just reading that question as they wrote it. So do you know what they're understanding, what they're getting at?
I think they do. I do. Most of it got, when people, that's where transparency comes in again. I might have said it on Facebook, but not everybody got it. And it was in the paper the next Monday, but not everybody paper. So it's sort of tough to keep that transparency going. And it was more, I think, the word of mouth that got out there, and the word of mouth would be the people working here at the tribe. You know what I mean?
All right. Somebody to continue on and goes, how come they can't switch out different groups each week? How much are they getting paid with hazard pay included?
With the DARE employees, there is no hazard pay. It's 21 an hour. And the reason why it was started at 21 is, and that was another reason why we hardly got anybody, because you had everybody that was on unemployment getting the extra $600 a week. And even with the $21, it was hard to get people because they were making more than 21 just collecting unemployment.
Interesting. Okay, and then the last part of that, I think, is the DARES workers keeping proper track of the distribution? Because I received a small bundle when I'm living in a home of 3 families, 2 in Beblin, and I'm in Big Coulee, and we got more things this last distribution.
If it's not being the same every week, need to
Yeah.
call the COVID hotline, 698-8249. It should be the same every week, and it goes by the number in that household. So if there's a different number in Beblin, they would have got a different package amount than the one in Big Coulee, and all the packages should be the same. We tried to get, keep it as equal as possible.
Okay.
And to keep tracking, we do what is it? Keep count of the packages that leave and the packages that come back.
Okay.
So that
All right. And another question about distribution, different question though. Why they're asking why are they asking so many questions when they distribute the food to the families?
That is, it is census year. That's one of the things, but the questions that are coming up is, if you have internet access, and that's something that, the tribe, it was very surprising to me, because, a lot of people go through Facebook, but there's a lot of people that don't have internet, and there's a lot of people that do, and it's just to get more or less in emergency times like this, the people that need the, attention the most, and it's not. And also we're trying to kick out the free Wi-Fi for students and learning, and it's more data. To me, I'm a data person. The more data you have, the better you can to suit your members.
Okay. All right. Let's see. What happened after they put together all the food in the tribe and most tribal workers tested positive? What actions were taken? It sounds like there was a situation where people tested positive about something. Or
I don't know of anybody of the DARE workers, because the DARE workers were tested a couple times now, and all of them came back negative.
good.
But
All right.
if somebody is tested, what we're trying to do is, if somebody tests positive, make sure they go home. They call that hotline. We're doing everything we can to just keep them there, rather than having to go out and be at the grocery store themselves and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. Next question. Totally different. What's your position on embezzlement, and who keeps track of how much has been embezzled? Do any of the recent embezzlers have to pay it back?
That I do not know. And as far as I know, we don't keep.
That's a good thing.
Of how much was embezzled.
Right.
Usually that number usually comes from the investigations that happened.
Okay.
And as far as I don't know.
Yeah. It's kind of an odd question.
Yeah.
More for justice than anything else, I guess, or some attorneys, I guess. Interesting question, though. All right. Next one. Do you think it's okay to spend money without council approval?
No.
The person doesn't say in what context, but I guess just as a general question. Yeah.
Well, the process is you get a motion approving the budget, and you got to spend within that budget. Anything beyond, I believe, 5,000, it needs a council motion.
Okay. Very good. Nice. Next one. Why hasn't he? Hold on. All right. The general. All right, so I'm just going to read it as is. There is a kind of how do you say it? There is a sense that there is a judgment in this question
Okay.
against you. So just sorry, but that's just the way it's written.
No
Why hasn't he been upfront with the Oyate about our money?
Which money? Does it say?
Exactly, right? So, well, the question goes on. The general council meeting was a disgrace. Our for-profit businesses are turning out to be on-the-job training programs. Where's the profits?
I could understand that. I guess, out of all our for-profits, Dakota Western is the only one that's making money right now. And that took almost, I think it was 17, 18 years before they started making a profit.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And with Dakota Crossing, again, if you look at the previous motions, I voted no to build it. I want
Oh, you
money
froze.
to buy the grocery store that we are with. And, I'm one that thinks that we need to move forward. It's tough. It's, the decision was made. I didn't agree with it, but it's something that I have to work with to try and make it succeed.
Okay, thanks. Next question. Well, I'm just going to read it the way it is. Why are embezzlers, even when caught, still working for the tribe? So does he think it's right to steal from people, get caught, and get a better paying job at the expense of children and elderly? Back in the day, the children and elderly came first. When did this end? Why do felons get to work for the tribe? It sounds like she's upset about something, or he's upset about something.
I don't.
Yeah.
Being specific,
Sorry, there's a lot of questions about embezzling all of a sudden.
It's fine. That's issues that off-reservation people want to hear from. I guess I don't know the specifics of what they're talking about. I know that they're talking about felons working, I believe. But
that was a part of it, right? Why do felons get to work for the tribe?
Right, and I believe some of them is, there's certain situations, where you have your gaming money and then they're working with grant money. And if they're working with grant money, the project officer of that grant would have to approve that person before they got hired. So if they're working with the grant and they're a felon, obviously they had to be approved. With the gaming money, I guess that would have to be under the executive that hired the felon, I guess, because as far as I know, I haven't hired anybody that was a felon so far. That
Okay, well, that's probably good, right?
Unless they, they weren't on, but if they weren't straight up with their application, I guess.
Right, exactly, and we all deserve a second chance anyway. So, all right, let's see. How I would like to ask, how serious is the SWO Council taking transparency into next year? So again, about transparency, and I guess they're asking: do you feel like, as a general consensus, the council is aware of that, about people wanting that?
Yeah, and in my opinion, I think all of council tries to be as transparent as possible. But like I said, it's tough, to hear stuff through the grapevine. We know how much it can change, unless you're hearing it straight from council or the execs. I'm always open for ideas on how to be transparent with people. And like I said, if I get a question 100 times, I'll answer it 100 times.
Okay.
I'm always open for ideas. If there's, anything we can do, because I understand it's tough for the off-reservation to get anything for on-res besides if Tom goes on Facebook Live. That's about it.
Okay. All right. Next question. Where are the bios in each candidate's qualifications? And have they held an office before? If so, are they eligible again? And what were their accomplishments if they did hold an office? Have they been vetted for criminal or financial backgrounds? So I'm not sure why they're asking you that specifically, but that's the way the question is written. But maybe you can just say where their candidates or information is.
I can't. Well, I guess I can just go through like how I feel the process is. Like, this must be talking about the election process for bios and stuff, or
okay.
Um, Usually it was up to the candidate to put their own bios out there on their accomplishments and stuff like that. Since I've been on council, uh, of course, we did the grocery store when I was first on council. What else was there? We did the remodeling of the casino. That's when I was on as council member, and then secretary. Got into that's more of the health and human service part of it. I worked hard to try and get us a Medicaid office where they would have it right here in the admin building. I think that's something that we still need. I was only in office for 6 months, but it came close, and hopefully we can still work on that, because it'd be good to, there's a lot of money that goes towards appointments and stuff like that. And it'd be good to have that third party revenue coming back for Medicaid on people like that. And then we started with the elderly cards when they were going off reservation for Walmart and stuff like that. I started PRAMS program, which brought in, I think, around $3,300 a month to our tribal school to help them with any finances. And then as vice chair, started the food distribution program. We got our deficit taken care of. There's a little bit deficit there, but we're working on that yet. And that's about, with the bios and all that with the other candidates, it usually goes on themselves to put it out there when they're campaigning.
Getting to the last part, have they been vetted for criminal or financial backgrounds? Is there kind of a process for that?
Yep. When you apply for candidacy, you sign affidavits and everything, do fingerprints, and they check you for any background.
Okay, good. All right, nice. Let's see, I think we're almost done. This last question's maybe on, and then he admits at the end of the question that it may be beyond the scope of the tribe and its government. So, but it's a question, we took it, I guess. In consideration that there are indicators of civilization collapse, oil reserves being depleted, overpopulation, antibiotics becoming less effective, or even outright useless in the next 60 years, what actions will you be taking to prepare or even reverse the situation for the Oyate?
Wow.
Yeah.
I think COVID-19 actually opened our eyes to this question, and
It didn't. Yeah, you're right.
And we actually need to, and that's why I said, we still need our ideas. It's tough because people are saying, well, we should do this with the money that we got. We should,
Right.
and it's tough because there's guidelines that we got to follow, but in them guidelines we can't do it. But it's something that we should start thinking about doing, like a and even it came up. One of our council members, I believe it was Lisa Bikuli, said wanted to start doing IV bags, stuff like that.
Sure.
Stuff that we can build here in the United States, because it's so hard it's crazy when we have to order stuff from China right now,
Right.
But no, I completely understand what he's saying. The question even came up, to even open up the hunting season already for people who go hunting.
Right.
But I think food sovereignty.
If I had come to you a year ago and I had said, Eddie, we need to really get some personal protective equipment, and we should stockpile because I think a pandemic's coming. It wouldn't have been out of the question, or wouldn't have been out of the realm for you to kind of look at me funny, right?
Right.
Yeah. But
now it's completely turned around. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we do need to kind of think outside of our tribe and its government, and prepare for some things that are unexpected sometimes.
I agree.
Yeah. So continuing with this question, considering that the U.S. has been focused on building and upgrading the electrical grid in preparation of a move to electric-based transportation. How is the Oyate planning on following suit?
Wow, that's sort of
Yeah.
crazy.
Electricity is a big thing now. You see all the
Yeah,
electric cars now, right? Yeah.
yeah. Actually, at our grocery store, I just got an email today. I don't even know if other council knows, but um, the manager actually is pitching to try and get uh, a charge unit set up at the store for people that are traveling the interstate and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah,
Excellent.
it's it's something I think we need to look into.
Right.
We started, solar's a big thing, wind's a big thing.
Wind
It
power. You
just,
guys are windy out there. I
oh,
was
yeah,
surprised when I was there the few times, and it's like I was, a few windmills might take the electricity bill down a little bit, and it
right.
helps. Here in California, just outside of the Bay Area, in the hills, they have these hills that go before you hit the San Joaquin Valley, or in the valley of the middle part of the state. There's the hills, and they have big wind farms up there, and they put the giant windmills up there, and we're all a benefit. We all benefit by those.
Yeah, and that's crazy because here, if you travel south, you travel north, they're all around us.
Right.
It's a resource that we should be tapping into.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
every travel member would benefit from a cheaper electricity bill.
Right. Right. Very good. So I think that's all the that's all the questions that we have for today. And I'd like to hand it back to you. And if you have something else you'd further like to say, or in your candidacy, or
You know, it's sort of, it's sort of early for candidacy, but it's good that, off reservation is, very interested and involved early. It's a good thing. I just want to say you can always leave me a message. My phone number is 698-8295. And if you need my email, it's SWO Vice Chairman at swo-nsn.gov. I'll, if I don't get to you right away, I will get back to you. I know it's been a couple days sometimes because it's been crazy, but also if you need information on the new emergency assistance program that's coming on, you can call my office or email me. And also, we're trying to get that rolling out the fastest and best way we can.
right. So you've been vice chairman, sorry, for how long now? For
About a year now.
about a year. Okay. So the term is only 1 year?
2.
2 years. Okay.
Yeah, we had a election for removal of the previous.
Oh, okay. I see. I understand now. And in that 1 year, I know that's not a lot of time to be able to commit to a lot of things. What was your best accomplishment?
I always try to look at the silver lining in things. COVID-19 is a bad thing, but during this, we're able to clear up a lot of the tribe's deficit, the in-house deficit. So got that cleared up. And then just, I think the biggest eye opener was, praying that everything gets to somewhat normal, to how we need to prepare better, and not really looking at money that's off reservation, how it can be spent differently and more wisely to benefit the tribe, rather than just using gaming money and relying on gaming money.
Right. So again, knowing that you've only done this for a year, what's the best part of the job?
The best part, honestly, I think it's just the interaction with people. It's good to hear I don't want to, and elders that come to my office, and adults, young adults, and with working, with the DARE employees, some of, you had to be 18, and there's quite a few that applied. Just getting to talk with them and, seeing their eyes open to, what tribal administration is all about. And it's just good to, especially with elders that come in and talk to me with their ideas, and we were talking about food sovereignty. We had I had an elder come in, talk to me about the farm bill. It's like, that's money to be made there, stuff
Mm.
like that. And just listening to people talk, especially the elders, it makes you feel good on what you're
Right.
doing. Yeah.
Good. So what's the least favorite part of your job?
Um,
Could be paperwork.
yeah, it is. There's a lot of paperwork. And honestly, going back to transparency,
Right.
and it falls on me too, but just the wrong information getting out there and just having to rebuttal everything all the time. But that's how it is, and I understand that. And you know as as long as I feel that if there's somebody out there that finally a light comes on saying, oh well, that's a good idea or something, that it's tough at times, but it's also benefits when you actually help people and understand what's going on.
Right. Right. How do you, if you continue on with this, what would you like to work on?
It's been tough, especially with this COVID-19. I've thought about this and what we'd like to work on. And my main objective actually was to fix the deficit. And with this COVID happening, and just so we know how much we got in our accounts and stuff like that, it opened up my eyes to, or happy to see that we were able to clear up the deficit. And in the future, I want to, it was, what was it? Just trying to really get where we can easily tell people how we are financially,
Mhm.
rather than, because there's so many different programs and grants. We're talking 70 different programs that we talk about, and it's tough to where, like, if you're talking about wind energy, and then you bring up the OEP, our Office of Environmental Protection one,
Mhm.
it's hard to explain because people are like, well, how come OEP ain't on top of that? Well, it's tough because OEP, it might be Office of Environmental Protection, but it doesn't deal with that because their grant scope of work and their grant doesn't deal with it, wind energy. But it's
Mhm.
tough, and explain that to people, and
Right.
it's environment, they should be able to do, it's tough, but I guess it just goes back to transparency again and wanting to better that. And that's why I said, if anybody has any ideas about reservation, to get that information to you guys, my ears are open.
Yeah. So Eddie, later this year, I turn 55.
Oh,
So what does that mean, Eddie? So I was hoping to get that elderly money that everybody wanted.
yeah.
And as we know, that didn't that's kind of on hold for a lot of people that I know count on it. When do you think that'll open up again?
Hopefully sooner than later. It I always explain it to people. It's like, it's tough because we had to switch our way of spending and thinking with COVID. And with everything, not the tribe not being able to help with, it
Hmm.
just makes it show that, we are very fortunate to being able to do all this for our people. And
Yeah.
it's tough because people got used to it, and we can do it with the COVID money because it was already budgeted, and once something is budgeted, you can't do it for that. But we're having a meeting with DNGE today. We had one, and we're shooting, I believe it's for maybe August, to get another, start dispersing again.
Okay.
And it all depends on if there's any rise in COVID. But
Exactly. Yeah. And you've had a recent spike there. Is that right?
Yeah, we had 14 last week.
Yeah. 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 It's too bad. Was that all in the same family or district or area or
I believe there
just
was
spread out or?
it was all within the reservation. I believe 6 of them were one family, and I'm not too sure about the other one.
Oh, all one family. Or well, 6 of them in one family.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll have to pray for them. That's too bad. So,
Yes.
are the casinos up and running full speed now or?
They do shut down yet in the evening, but they are up and running.
Okay.
The reason why they shut down, of course, is they clean throughout the day, but just with that get the whole thing covered. They shut down. I think Magic closes at 3 till 6, but
Okay.
it's just part of the plan to try and keep everything sanitized and precaution for people so that they feel somewhat safe from the spread of corona.
Have the revenues recovered yet? Or the revenue stream, has it recovered? Or is it 80% of what it was, 70% of what it was?
We don't really know yet. The next week we should have the financials for that, hopefully, and then we'll be able to determine that. From what I've been hearing with casinos around us, they've only been getting about 30 to 40%.
Of what? Oh, really? Of what they had, huh? Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any final thoughts or?
I don't have anything right now. I can give you guys my information, my number, and email if there's any extra questions. People are able
Yeah, I
to.
think there might be a lot of questions about that COVID money and how to apply for it. And I saw the paper application or the file on the thing. Do you have to have a need? Do you have to
No,
exhibit a need?
just fill it out, get everything you need, and submit it on. We should have hope the email running by tomorrow, and we'll have a couple lines dedicated to that fax machine. I know it's a lot of red tape, but it's not something that the tribe was trying to put in there. It's just something that we had to follow with CRF funding guidelines. And if you're looking for the application is on the SWO website or the management website. People can pick it up at the admin building. We're working on to be emailed. So if you need one, just give us a call.
Am I right in that off-res people get a different amount than on-res?
Yep. Off-res will be getting 500, up to 500, and on-res is 1,000. And the reason for that was the numbers
Is that per person or per family or per household?
What is it? Head of household.
Head of household. Okay.
Yeah. So, it had to go towards certain things. And so the reason why it's pretty much stuck to your utilities, rent, and mortgage is because that's something that's going to keep you home and quarantined and isolated from the COVID virus. If we could have did more, car payments came up, stuff like that. But, it's not making a car payment really isn't helping you stay quarantined or isolated. And it's just certain guidelines that we had to follow.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. All right. I want to thank you for your time, Eddie.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nice talking with you. It was nice meeting you.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
And I wish you luck.
Thank you.
I just want to say that this is also being recorded at the same time, and it will be put onto the off-res group. So anybody, because we have like 1,200 members, anybody who doesn't have time to see it live like now can go back and watch the interview later. So there are a lot of people will be accessing it.
All right, that's perfect.
All right.
Good. All right. Well, you have a good
night.
Yep.
You're working late, by the way. It's late there.
Yeah, I know.
Go home.
My kids are probably wondering where supper's at.
I know. Go get dinner. All
Yeah.
right.
All right. Have a good night.
All right. Nice meeting you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.